Ambassador Zekthara's chitinous hands trembled as she reviewed the human proposal for the third time. Around the crystalline conference table of the Galactic Council, representatives from 12 species sat in stunned silence, their various appendages, tentacles, and sensory organs all focused on the holographic display floating before them. "You cannot be serious," wheezed Counselor Morph through his breathing apparatus. The gaseous being's form flickered with agitation. "The Void Corridor has claimed 17 exploration vessels from 7 different species. It is a graveyard of ambition." Captain Sarah Chen, the lone human representative, leaned back in her chair with what Zekthara had learned was called a smirk. The expression still unsettled the Velthari ambassador. Humans had so many facial configurations, most of which seemed designed to convey complex emotional states that other species required pheromone clouds or bioluminescent displays to communicate. "Counselor Morph," Chen said, her voice carrying that peculiar human quality of controlled casualness. "With respect, you've been calling it the Void Corridor for what, 3 centuries? We prefer the Kepler route." The hive mind speaker, a collective consciousness inhabiting dozens of insectoid bodies, rustled in unison. "Designation irrelevant. Sector 7 Gamma remains impassable. Gravitational anomalies create temporal distortions. Space-time fabric exhibits unpredictable tiers. Mathematical probability of successful transit, 0.03%. Chen pulled up her own holographic display, fingers dancing across controls with practiced efficiency. "That's where you're wrong. Your species have been trying to go around the anomalies. We're suggesting going through them." A chorus of horrified gasps, clicks, and harmonic frequencies filled the chamber. High Arbiter Xylos, the Council's eldest member, raised one of his forearms. "Captain Chen, perhaps you misunderstand the nature of these phenomena. The gravitational forces alone would compress most vessels into atomic particles. The temporal distortions have trapped ships in causal loops lasting millennia." "Yeah, we read the reports," Chen replied, now standing and walking to the central display. 17 ships lost, all following conventional navigation protocols, all trying to maintain structural integrity through brute force shielding and reality anchors. She gestured to the swirling mass of distorted spacetime. "You've been treating this like a wall to break through. We see it as a river to navigate." She manipulated the display, showing a sleek human vessel, smaller than most Council ships, seemingly fragile by comparison. "The UES Hermes, built specifically for what we call dynamic void surfing. Instead of fighting the gravitational anomalies, she rides them. Instead of resisting temporal distortions, she uses them as acceleration multipliers." Ambassador Zekthara felt her secondary hearts skip a beat. "You would deliberately enter temporal loops?" "Controlled ones," Chen corrected. "Our quantum physicists discovered that the loops aren't random. They follow mathematical patterns, fractals actually. By entering at precise coordinates and maintaining specific velocity vectors, you can use the loops to build momentum, then break free at exactly the right moment." The hologram showed the Hermes entering the abyss. Chen's people, apparently, refused to use the proper designation. Instead of the expected disintegration, the ship seemed to dance through the chaos, riding gravitational waves like an ancient surfer, slipping through temporal bubbles with surgical precision. "Impossible," breathed Counselor Morph. "The computational requirements alone are handled by our newest AI systems," Chen said with obvious pride. 3 quantum minds working in parallel, processing approximately 1047 variables per second. Plus, of course, human intuition. This drew confused sounds from several species. High Arbiter Xylos tilted his ancient head. "Intuition? In void navigation?" Chen's grin widened. "That's the secret sauce, Arbiter. Our computers can crunch the numbers, but sometimes you need a human pilot who can feel the flow of distorted spacetime. Someone who can make split-second decisions based on instinct rather than calculation." "Madness," whispered Zekthara. "Maybe," Chen acknowledged, "but it works. The Hermes completed a round trip through your impossible corridor last month. Journey time, 4 days. The conventional route around the sector takes 3 months. The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives demanded proof, explanations, mathematical models. Through it all, Chen stood calmly, occasionally sipping from a beverage container that steamed with some human stimulant. High Arbiter Xylos called for order. "Assuming this is true, Captain, what do your people want?" "Nothing much," Chen replied. "Just permission to establish a navigation beacon network in the corridor. Maybe a few service stations for other species who want to use the route. We'll charge reasonable fees, of course." Ambassador Zekthara realized the true scope of human ambition. They hadn't just conquered the abyss, they intended to domesticate it. Turn the galaxy's greatest navigational hazard into a commercial highway. "The Council will need time to consider," Xylos began. "Of course," Chen interrupted politely. "Take all the time you need. Just remember that while you're deliberating, human cargo vessels are already cutting months off their delivery schedules. Our merchant marine is rather excited about the competitive advantage." As the session adjourned and representatives filed out in agitated clusters, Zekthara approached the human captain. "You knew we would refuse initially." Chen nodded. "Standard procedure. Councils don't like rapid change, but economics always wins. Give it 6 months and half your member species will be privately asking for navigation charts. And if your calculations are wrong, if ships start disappearing..." For the first time, Chen's confident demeanor showed a crack. "Then we'll figure out what went wrong and fix it. That's what humans do, Ambassador. We don't accept impossible. We just haven't found the right approach yet." As Chen left the chamber, Zekthara stared at the holographic display still showing the swirling chaos of the void corridor. The humans called it a shortcut. Perhaps, she thought, that fundamental difference in perspective explained why humanity had risen from primitive planet dwellers to galactic players in mere centuries. They didn't see obstacles, they saw opportunities, and that, more than any technology or weapon, made them the most dangerous species in the galaxy.